We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc and theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Welcome to episode number 75 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about Captain Marvel. Have you seen the movie? I haven't, but some other people have, so we're going to talk about that. So I guess if you haven't seen the movie, there will likely be spoilers.
Definitely.
Because I don't care. And then we're going to talk about what we watched this week in a segment that it's been a while since we've talked about it with its acronym name, WWWTW. We're bringing it back. But we'll do that. So, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, you didn't see it. Me and Andrew saw it.
I saw it.
And
Did you say sawed it?
I might have. I'm just going to move past
I'm
that.
going to let it slide this time.
Yeah.
Let's move past.
Move past it.
Well, normally you jump on those ones, Craig, not Andrew. I wasn't prepared for him to do it.
I didn't even hear it.
I may have heard it wrong. I thought I heard it.
Anyways, Captain Marvel. We saw it. That time I'm pretty sure I said saw.
There we go. You definitely said saw there. What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I liked it more than I thought I would. I particularly liked the twist with who the villains were. I liked the twist with who Marvel ended up being. I thought that was fun too.
It was interesting to see her as a woman.
Yeah, which was interesting, and I thought was
instead of like super big buff dude.
Yeah, and in that scenario, it fit a little bit better, especially since they updated her story a little bit. It wasn't that she got his blood in a sense, that she was just got her power from something Marvel was doing. So I liked that because I wasn't expecting it whatsoever. That and the Skrull storyline in general, like especially since you start off with them, you seeing them in one perspective and then it changes throughout the movie and you're like, oh wait, okay. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. I really enjoyed the dynamic between Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson. I thought they just had a great chemistry between the two of them, the way they riffed. I thought they're kind of like matched with their like kind of sarcasm and what's the word, like I was going to say smart assery, but I know that's not really a word, but that's what I want to describe it as.
Something like that, yeah.
Just getting like smart ass remarks, and it's just like, I enjoyed it because it was a different type of humor than we've gotten in some of the other Marvel movies, meaning like a little bit less like quippy, but a little bit more just like kind of, I feel like she was the straight man a few more times, and he was the kind of goofy one, which I liked. I was like, okay, cool. Samuel L. Jackson being, Samuel L. Jackson. So that was fun. Yeah.
I like that, what's his name? I forget his name. The first name. Mendelsohn?
Oh, Ben Mendelsohn.
The guy who played... Ben, that's what it was, yeah. The guy who played Talos.
Yes.
This is the first thing I liked him in, where
Really?
he just wasn't a fucking evil douchebag.
That's fair.
And just because, like, everything else I've seen him in, he's just been that real fucking whiny, snivelly
That's true. We couldn't think of his name like last episode or the episode before that.
yeah. Because he was in Robin Hood.
Yeah, we were talking about.
I was talking about last
Robin
week,
Hood,
where he played the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah, then we were going through all the things he's been a bad guy in. Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Rogue One.
Yeah. Like, he's just always been a punk bitch and everything else.
Yeah.
But this time, I really liked him.
Yeah, no, I did too. Like, I don't mind him as a villain most of the time, but I like that it was a different. Like, at first we think he's going to be a villain. Then he ends up being good, and I like that kind of like. It's not even really
He ends up just being another dude.
Yeah, it's not even really a twist in a sense. It's more just like you didn't have a whole perspective that you thought you did on them, which I really enjoyed that. Like, I like that up to now, even the trailers haven't given it away that was the twist with them, and that's the thing I feel like I really enjoyed, that I didn't expect what was going to happen in this movie. Like, what happened in this movie.
Well, even with like her flashbacks, they tweaked her flashbacks to see a Skrull there.
Yes.
Instead of seeing what's his face.
Yeah, and I like that. That's the way they used.
Jude Law.
They introduced her flashbacks, like, because we had seen some of the flashbacks in the trailer, so I was curious how they were going to incorporate that into the story. And I really like that was the mechanism they used. The Skrulls were going through her memory trying to find information, so that's what was happening. I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. And then there was the montage scene, which I love montage, so I can't complain. So I'm a big fan of a montage.
Yeah.
So it gave me those butterflies I get in a superhero movie. So I felt all inspired and like, yes, let's rally. I don't know what I'm rallying for, but let's rally.
There's a lot of unnecessary jokes I found crammed into it in moments that didn't need comedic relief.
But
I'm also going to say this is probably one of the better,
yeah,
solo.
Oh,
Marvel
I agree,
movies.
especially origin-wise too. I really liked it. Like,
yeah,
it felt a lot different. Like, I like that we kind of are introduced. We're introduced to her with her thinking she knows what all of her abilities are in a sense, but she's actually like.
It turns out that sticker on the back of her head says "Nuh-uh." Nicorette stops you from doing that.
It's like a limiter on a car. It's
yeah,
like you can't go over 150, girl. But
like I've read a couple of things online. People losing their fucking minds about how it doesn't fit into the the continuity or the timeline, like it was the chronicity or whatever the fuck the word is. Like it doesn't fit in with that. Like there's things that happened before that this doesn't, and people just losing their minds over it. And I'm like, have you ever watched a single other Marvel movie?
yeah, it's like, come on, people.
Nothing fucking lines up at all. It's big booms and cool shit.
Yeah.
That's why you like them.
Exactly.
Don't pretend it's something that it isn't.
You don't want
Yeah.
your artistic integrity. Get out of here.
That's it.
Well, I would argue it's not necessarily artistic integrity as much as like there's certain things they put into movies and then it doesn't always play out necessarily in other movies, especially now that they have 20 movies. It's like, okay, you can't keep track of every line from every movie when you're just trying to make
I think
a new
there's
one.
also a lot of things where they just try to fit an Easter egg in.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, there's people out there, there's fans who like to see shit, so we'll put this in there. And then later on, they're like, fuck, we kind of wanted to use that, just like the Infinity Gauntlet being up in
Odin's.
like trophy
Yeah,
room
that's
or
the only way to
whatever.
put it. It's a trophy
And then they're
room.
like, shit, we didn't quite think this through. Like we thought it was just a cool Easter egg at the time.
Yeah.
Well, now we have to go fucking do something
They have
else.
to retcon it by
Or-
getting Hella to call
whoops.
it fake.
Whoops! Thanos put on the gauntlet like years ago, but it turns out they just had
Just
it
had a
made
new
by
one
the
made.
dwarfs.
For the other hand.
Well, it's just them doing shit to garnish attention. Fucking get over it.
And I'm always just like, well, it's also fictional universes. Like, let's not hold them up to like life standards. And like, even in
Like,
real
the
life,
Tesseract was in this spot at this point. Who fucking cares? Did you enjoy the movie?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, cool. You didn't? That's fine.
That's fine too.
Don't fucking go write a blog about it. Record a podcast like a real grown up.
Delete.
Like, as I was reading, I was just like so frustrated with people like just trying to find issues with just this movie like they've never happened before.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Like, trying to hold this one out just because whatever reasoning you want to decide, I'm not even going to justify their reasoning by saying it. But yeah, just because you have like biased against this movie because of whatever reason you had doesn't mean you have to like hold it at a different standard than you do the other ones in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like,
We don't like that she's super powerful and she's gonna come in, she's gonna take over and be the best in the MCU when there's all the other guys. Okay, but she is.
yeah.
It fucking happened. Deal with it.
Well, and I feel like it's also like, well, you're just assuming things about the story. You're assuming that Kevin Feige doesn't know how to tell a story with these characters, even though he's been doing it for 10 years and 20 movies. It's like, well, just trust the guy to give you that he's going to make the story like actually a little bit better than even that, because it would be a little bit anticlimactic if all Endgame was Captain Marvel coming in and blasting Thanos. And I feel like Marvel's not that, simple, like they're going to give us a lot more than just, what
there's going to be some
masses
shit
can
that
guess. Like,
realistically, the answer to it all is going to be stuff that doesn't make any fucking sense. It's going to get stuck in some type of weird time loop where things just don't add up, yet we're going to accept it because it's a fucking movie.
it's like life. You just have
It's
to
not the
accept
real
it
world.
happens.
You need to stop living vicariously through your movie characters. That's what I'm saying. I'm fucking so done with superhero movies.
Oh, wow. This is the one that got
way
you,
too
eh?
many. There's just too fucking many.
Yeah, but people are eating
People hard as fuck, just ready to bust fat nuts to the fact that Endgame is going to be 3 hours, and yet they lost their goddamn minds when Batman vs Superman was 3 hours. Fucking just pick the company line and go by it. Don't just flip flop around.
They're picking the side.
So done with superhero movies. I'm so done with superhero movies.
The ones who critique DC movies and like Marvel movies critique everything about DC movies and love the Marvel movies.
Ugh.
There aren't really that many people who go the other way because, I mean, why not?
Finish that sentence.
I got nothing, man. I got
Finish
nothing.
it.
I got
Finish
nothing.
it.
If you enjoy the DC movies, you probably are like, yeah, the Marvel movies.
A better person? Yeah, that sounds about
the Marvel
right.
movies are enjoyable enough. But if you hate the DC movies, then you're a terrible person.
Yeah, that sounds about right. No, I'm done with superhero movies. Like, obviously, I'm gonna go see Endgame, and then after that, I'm gonna take some time off.
No Shazam then? It's just
Shazam comes out before,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So after
Okay,
Endgame, I'm gonna take some time off. I probably won't go see I probably won't go see the Spider-Man one.
Oh, okay.
Brightburn, I'll probably go see just because it's
Not
a
a
different twist
superhero
on
movie.
something.
I watched the trailer for it the other day.
And then Joker, no fucking way. Like, after Endgame, I'm done with superheroes until next year.
Okay.
Next year, man,
Next
I'd make
year.
it a decade.
Are you saying that you're deciding to grow up?
No,
And
I'm
that,
just, I'm
ladies and
taking some
gentlemen, is the end of the
space.
podcast. Mark it on your
No,
calendars.
I'm not growing up. I need some space from superhero movies. That being said, any and all animated superhero movies that come out, I will watch because they're direct to DVD.
That's fair. So you're just done with going to see them in theaters, is what you mean?
I'm done with it. They've made fucking so much money.
Yeah, this
Take a break.
Captain Marvel.
I don't need 7 fucking superhero movies a year. I don't. Like, you've gotten so many of my dollars. The reason I'm broke is because of these movies. Fuck, but Hellboy comes out. I have to see Hellboy.
Hellboy's.
So that's going to be the last one.
I feel like
Because I'm hard as fuck for that. But there's too many superhero movies, man. Like,
that's a fair assessment. I understand where you're coming from on that. I'm still okay with the number there are, but I understand why you're tired with it. I get it. Are you done with superhero TV shows?
Oh, that was like when.
well, I mean,
started.
it almost looks like the superhero TV shows are done with us.
Oh, well,
Considering most of the ones that I watch have been canceled.
that's fair.
The Flash is getting another season, which, if I'm being completely honest, I'm kind of bummed about. Because I feel like it needs to be canceled too.
Okay, well, Arrow wasn't canceled. It's just ending. There's a difference there.
With only getting 10 episodes yet, though.
Well,
Like
that's 'cause they
that's
have
the
a certain-
mid-season. That's canceled.
Well, no, that's they had a certain amount. They didn't have enough story to do a full season, and they want to wrap it up in a nice way. And they're not going to stretch it like they sometimes do with these seasons. But yeah, no, I feel your point, but I'm still okay with it. I'm just gonna still watch them all.
Yeah, I need some space.
So are we done talking about Captain Marvel then?
I want to know your opinion on the Stan Lee cameo.
I fucking adored it. It just made my heart light up a little bit because I liked just like I love Kevin Smith. I like the fact that it's kind of a realistic kind of one too. It's like, oh yeah, Stan Lee definitely did that at one point. I also watched a video about Kevin Smith explaining about that scene, which he the when you hear Stan Lee, that actually is from Mallrats. When you hear him, so those when you hear those clips, those are takes that were from Mallrats actually, and it wasn't Stan Lee recorded because he was like a little too sick that day to, I guess, record extra.
To actually record. Okay.
Yeah, so they used, like, Kevin Feige contacted Kevin Smith and got permission to go use like the outtakes in a sense from Mallrats to.
Like, I feel like it's a interesting like punctuation on him.
Yeah.
Because it kind of says that he is like he isn't part of like the Marvel universe itself. He just shows up.
Well, he's
like from a different dimension type
He's
thing.
a little bit of both, I think. Because, well, if you also think about it, some of the comic books back in the day that he was a big part of, he'd write letters in it to people, right? Like they'd have little animations of him too, so they make little cartoons of it. So he already kind of did exist in this world. And the fact that he kind of created it kind of lends credence to like that he both lives in it and that he's both. I just see him as like kind of a god of that universe, and he just does whatever he wants, and he's anywhere he wants to be.
It's cool, but also weird to see him like do the Mallrats thing because it's like he plays himself in that.
Yeah.
So like it's like he makes the Marvel comics, which I guess is okay because the X-Men comics existed in Logan.
Yeah.
But also it's just fucking it's a mind fuck is what it is.
It is if you think too much about it other than
it's a straight up mind fuck. But it was a cool scene.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
I really enjoyed it. I like what a nice tribute it was to him, because if you listen to any interviews about like him talking about him doing Mallrats, he absolutely loved doing Mallrats because it was the first time anybody let him do a movie.
Yeah.
It took Kevin Smith to let him into a movie, but it was the first time anybody, like a bunch of his stuff had been made before, and this is the first time somebody gave him an actual part in a movie, and he was just so excited about it, and that's why him and Kevin Smith were just the best of buddies until Stanley passed away. And so like I just really loved it.
Spoilers.
Because of that extra spoilers. Nice, I like that. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. What did you think of the 2 post-credit scenes?
Honestly, we left before the second.
Oh,
one.
you smart bastard.
I read about it.
I
read about
smart bastard. I didn't.
I read about it, but
I
read about it before we went to the movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The second one was pretty cool.
The second one?
Or the first one.
I was gonna say,
the first one was.
The second one I did not
cool.
like. I wish they had switched the 2 around, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I did wait, and then you end the scene like with the cat at the end is the last post credit scene, right? And it's just like, wait, that's it? I waited freaking 10 minutes through these credits for a cat to cough up a fur ball, i.e. the Tesseract.
How do you feel about how he loses his eye?
I
fucking hate it so much. Especially when they hint at the beginning of like, him having the cut on his eye or on his eyebrow, and he's like, "Oh man, I've been through worse."
Yeah.
And then it's just a cat scratch, and there was no reason for the cat to scratch his eye.
Yeah.
And then he kept the fucking cat around.
Well, the only thing I'll say is, I hope that there's maybe more to the cat scratch. Like maybe it led to him having like some kind of thing, and he has to go on some adventure. He can see the
future or something.
Something crazy. Like that's what I'm hoping. Because the one Ben Mendelsohn's character does this weird like, ooh, that's not going to be okay thing, right? Now I wasn't sure if that was just being like, oh yeah, okay, that's definitely where he loses his eye, or if it was like, oh, something more is going to lead to it. Because I'm like, it's an alien cat, so it's like, okay, well, obviously its scratches potentially have something more going on than just a regular scratch.
Yeah.
That's why his eye seemed to have died or something. But it's also just, I don't know. Yeah. I get why people are upset about it. I'm maybe not as upset, but I definitely would have liked it. It was
weird, better. I found, because like in what was it, the Winter Soldier?
Oh yeah.
Like he scans the eye. He has the eye.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't have the eye.
Well, that's the part I was.
Which is just something I think they like overlooked. I think it's just something they didn't go back and double check. There was no fact checking that happened. It was just a funny scene you got to see.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like the fake eyes were just a gag gift, maybe.
I feel, or maybe they're just really trying to like be like, oh yeah, this is his eye's gone. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, trying to hint that there's no possibility for it to heal. Like, because if they didn't do that, I would have maybe been like, oh well, it's possible that wasn't the reason. I could have justified it. I could have been like, oh well, he's still healing up. We don't know if it's actually back. So maybe the eyes thing were just them being like, no, this is the story's done with the eye. His eye's gone. It was a cat. An alien cat, but it was still a cat.
Yeah, I would love to see like people's fan theories about it, like some of the crazy fanboys, the ones who get a little too fucking intense about it, who like they just stretch everything and just try to nail it down so it doesn't rip, and they're like, stay here. Like I would love to read like some fucking bullshit version of that.
Yeah, no.
Like I went through a thread earlier today about people like trying to justify and cover like the Shield in general, and how it's like, oh, they said this, and this all before this happened, so this one doesn't make sense. And then you're like, yeah, but none of the fucking other ones make sense either.
Yeah,
Get your head out of your ass. It's a movie.
It's an organization that was taken over by Hydra from the inside. People, come on, like
Someone fucked up somewhere.
something got fucked up. Paperwork got lost. Let's come on.
Let's move on. And I'm like, I was on that thread for like 45 minutes, and I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you have to avoid these.
Like,
things.
oh yeah, he said this because he meant this. How the fuck do you know he meant that? How do you know?
Yeah, no, I don't like when.
Are you in the movie universe? I don't think so.
Okay, well, I think we've covered everything for Captain Marvel, eh?
Yeah, go see it. It's a good movie. Just don't talk to me about it.
I'll actually even second that. If yeah, go see it. Don't talk to me about it though. I've got all my thoughts.
Also,
out.
if you're just one of these fucking douchebags who are gonna go see it and then bitch about how it has a strong female message, like I've seen some people,
well,
maybe
that's
not our
the thing I was
listeners, but I've
referring to
seen some
before.
people.
Yeah.
Y'all can go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
this is why you're alone. This is why you're losers. Just fucking get with the times. Okay?
Well said.
Do
Well
it.
said. Ditto. I'm just gonna ditto that.
There we go.
Okay.
Anyways, what did we watch this
Craig,
week?
you start this off since you've been quiet for a little bit. We know you didn't watch Captain Marvel.
I didn't watch Captain Marvel. Well, before we did the podcast, I watched an episode.
Yeah, this is super awkward. Craig, can you hear us?
Fuck off! Are you kidding me?
I think he just swore.
He definitely did just swear, and there he goes. So we'll be getting Craig back in a second. That's
Okay.
gonna be a fun little section for you guys to listen to. We'll have to listen back to that actually.
Absolutely. I'm intrigued to know what the fuck he said. I think he said fuck off.
I think that was the end part, but I did think he started off by
yeah.
going into what he watched
Yeah.
this week. Potentially.
Yeah. So what did you watch this week, Scott?
Well, I did watch Captain Marvel. We already discussed that. I'll discuss the other
Absolutely.
thing that Craig probably won't care about, which is The Flash. I watched the new episode.
Yep, so did
King
I.
Shark versus-
Fucking hated that
King
episode.
Shark versus Gorilla Grodd. You didn't like it?
I hated it.
Okay, well, I loved it, so we'll leave it at that. And since Craig's about to be back
yeah.
in a second.
Too many random bits about Iris. Didn't fucking need
That's
her.
fair.
Craig, this is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you guys.
Oh.
Well, we can hear
can't-
you now.
We couldn't hear
You can't
you.
hear me.
We can now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Scott was just telling us what he watched this week.
All right. What did you watch this week, Scott?
So I just mentioned The Flash, which Andrew didn't like this episode, and I did, and I thought we'd just leave it at that, especially since you don't care about it, Craig. I also watched... yeah. I don't think you can argue with that.
You're right.
Nope.
Yeah. So I watched the first episode of the second season of American Gods. It premiered on Sunday, last Sunday.
I haven't made it that far yet.
You haven't? Oh,
I haven't made it to it yet.
well, it was great. I won't spoil too much for you, but I just really love that this season seems like it's going to ramp up even more with all the mythology and the gods and stuff.
Fuck yes.
And the war.
I love it.
And this first...
My uncle watched it
Oh.
and he said it was too far out and he didn't like it. And I was like, that's fair. You're old.
That's what I was just
love
thinking.
this
I'm like-
shit. It
didn't wanna
does not
insult your
pertain
uncle
to
like
you
that, but-
at all.
Yeah, it is a very, like, it is out there.
He's 60. Technology is not his thing.
Exactly, so...
Not that it's my thing, but it's like he's here
Yeah.
and then I'm like here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm like an inch above him on the
I
list
feel
of
like your
understanding
uncle's one of the
technology.
dudes who's helping Odin kick around just because he's more likely to know who Odin is than what Facebook is. Well, Facebook's probably a bad
Yeah, that's
example.
fair.
But...
That's fair. That's fair. No, that's legitimate.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so, but this season, like, just this first episode, it already starts to ramp up, like, a certain amount. I don't want to spoil it, but you can just tell from this point it's going to go really awesome. I like that they planted a couple mysteries, even though this takes place pretty much like 24 hours after the last one, or so it seems. It seems like
Oh, it's that soon,
It seems
eh?
like it's
Sweet.
pretty immediately. So, like, you start off with this scene of seeing, like, just Techno Boy and Mr. World doing some stuff. I don't want to spoil it. And then you see, like, a quick little, like, graphic of, like, a road trip, but, like, you know, you got a map, and then you have a car on the map, and they're showing the car driving across, and then that's where you rejoin Shadow and them. So it just seems like that's all that's
Okay.
passed is the time from them traveling from where they were at the end of last season to where they're starting off this season.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and it's awesome. They're bringing a bunch of other gods. I love this show.
Oh,
I'm just so excited for next week for another episode to come out. I love it. It's great. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Oh, they only do it like one a week.
Yeah, one a week. Well, because it's
Fuck.
still on TV in the States. Actually, I
okay.
think it's co-done with Stars.
Oh, okay.
and so it's on TV each week in the States, but we get it on Amazon because Amazon's got the rights everywhere else.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I binged it when I got into it, so it would have been done at that point.
Yeah. But luckily, it'll probably only, well, not luckily, but it tends to be, the first season was only 8 episodes, so I'm imagining this season will probably be a shorter thing too. So.
8 episodes, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just wait till May then.
No.
I
was going to say, I'd rather you didn't.
I got to know. I got to know.
If you don't want me to message you about it every week, that's fine. Okay, I won't, but I need someone to talk to about it.
I got to know. Because it won't be Craig.
Which, I feel like Craig might find this show interesting. Especially since it's by the same guy that does Good Omens, which was that trailer we talked about last week.
The one that I'm going to watch,
yeah.
Yes. So it's done by the same guy who did that, right? And it's along the same kind of lines, this being a world where, gods are real because people believe in them, and there are new gods and there are old gods, and they're about to start a war. That's where we're in the second season. Odin's the main character, the second main character.
Maybe if I ever find time to watch stuff again.
That's fair.
I'll think about it.
Is that you blaming a certain somebody on the podcast?
Why would you even imply that?
Well,
by implying,
Because I worship chaos.
By implying that, you've started something. So congratulations.
I told you. Okay, I'll cut in. I'll interject here. I watched some How I Met Your Mother because I was painting the hallway and getting ready to paint my bedroom. And I need something I've watched before, just as background noise. And because I crushed all of Family Guy last week, I figured How I Met Your Mother was a good backup plan. So I threw on some How I Met Your Mother, and Quinn got introduced. And she says she worships chaos, so I worship chaos because she's hot.
I completely understand that logic too. I'm just like, no, I've been there, done that.
Yeah, been there.
Chaos.
That's fair. No, that was not an implication of someone. Just
you should get that in writing.
I got
put it in writing.
I got work and other stuff.
Life takes a lot of time. Okay.
Exactly. There's a lot of stuff going on.
No, I get it, Craig.
Just don't make time to watch the TV anymore. Got other stuff to do.
Books to read, marathons to run.
Exactly. Naps to have. Before the podcast, I watched an episode of Trailer Park Boys, though.
Nice.
Sounds awful.
I'm trying to make that part of my pre-podcast routine. It's going to take me an eternity to get through this series.
Still sounds awful.
I'll eat food and watch an episode of that. This week, though, the only other thing I did watch was we watched Instant Family.
Oh.
Don't fucking say it, man. Don't even say it.
I have to.
I will exit out of the podcast right now.
I have to. It was not as good as Andrew made it out to seem.
He's full of fucking shit. He is full of shit.
From this perspective.
Clearly, he just wasn't looking at the beauty of it.
I watched the entire thing. Sam fell asleep.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily a gauge of a movie's quality or not.
Sam also sits through Grey's Anatomy and enjoys it. I don't trust her opinion on things. Hi, Sam.
She fell asleep, but I watched the entire thing.
Nice.
And the middle part could be a little bit more interesting.
You mean the part where they take in the 3 orphans?
See, that's not the middle part for me.
And then their life fucking falls apart
That's the middle
because
part
they can't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, it's just
how could you make that more interesting? You got a teenager.
Long. And
yeah, it's them growing through it. It's them taking in kids, having no fucking prior experience with kids, and then learning how to parent at the same time that these kids are learning how to child.
They could have made it more concise.
How?
It would be a better movie if they had just made it more concise. I can't even think of a specific example because I'm trying to block
because it was perfect and you just don't want to like it.
Because I'm trying to block it out of my memory.
Ugh.
I want my $6 back. Or Sam's $6 back.
There we go. There we go.
No, like, okay. So what probably doesn't help, what helps the movie is that Rose Byrne's pretty cool, and there's a couple.
Pretty cool. She's fucking awesome.
there's a couple other people in the movie that I thoroughly enjoy. Grandma Sandy, favorite character, by
She's
far.
hilarious.
Only thing that alleviated the middle of that film.
Kendall and I discussed it, and we're pretty sure that our parents fit into the grandmotherly roles, where one grandmother is going to be phenomenal and just like crush everything and be the super sweetheart on top of everything one, and then one of our mothers is going to be the super fucking rad cool one. And I will let the listeners figure that out.
I actually don't know where.
My mom is Grandma Sandy.
Where was I going with this? The end of the movie.
Oh no, you're going to move on because the movie is beautiful, and I cried 3 times.
The end of the movie was pretty good. But
Ernie from the George Lopez show plays a judge. Never saw that coming.
No, neither.
Because he was an idiot on George Lopez.
Yeah. So the movie wasn't bad. Wasn't what was the word you used? Let's rewind the tape. I think you said instant classic.
Probably, yeah.
It's not a movie I'm about to go watch again.
Sounds like a you problem, buddy. I've watched it
For a
3
while,
times.
at the very least. So
I just love it because
say-
I have no idea what this movie is whatsoever. Because
It can-
every time you guys mention Instant Family, I just blank out.
Okay, Instant Family is the beautiful, heartwarming, tear-jerking story of how Rose Byrne and Mark Wahlberg
Which is
are
another
successful
thing that I
business
don't like
people.
about the movie, because I don't really like Mark Wahlberg in a lot of things.
He's very hit or
Well,
miss.
that's your fault.
It wasn't my fault.
Don't blame
Somebody
the
cast
movie.
him.
Don't blame the
Somebody
movie for his
cast him.
existence. Don't blame the movie for his existence, okay? Him
movie's
and Rose
complicit.
Byrne have a successful house flipping business, okay?
And then they get some.
They're in their
adopted
early 40s. She has a sister. Rose Byrne has a sister
does?
who's trying to have kids, can't quite have kids. And then her sister makes a comment about how, oh, you guys are never going to have kids. And Rose Byrne gives Marky Mark like just a look. You know, and then they have their little bickering like, oh, you definitely gave me a look. And then they go golfing at some point, and they're talking about it. And he's like, well, maybe if, you know, let's adopt a 5-year-old. Because then it'll be like I got cracking when I was
I
36.
think you're describing the trailer to me.
and then from there, it kind of
He's just
steamrolled into
described the first 5.5 minutes.
her doing some searches, and then she finds these kids who need help, and she's crying, and then he does it, and he starts crying, and they go to a seminar,
Is it that
and then
easy? Are kids just
He's-
online being like, we need help? Is that how orphans work?
No, it was like an
well, no, she
Okay, I'm
went
just
to an
making
adoption
sure.
website. Yeah, it's not just like
I don't know.
like Tinder for adopting kids.
I was like, is this about, what's it, child trafficking?
Kinder, that's what they'd call that app. Kinder.
Chinder?
You sweat. Kinder, yeah.
Kinder. That sounds really, really creepy.
Yeah,
and
just
probably should not
Oh
be done.
yeah. Dude,
it's such a
it shouldn't
it
be.
is,
approve of that.
it is such a smart idea because of the the name.
The name comparison, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's all way above board. But the second you put pictures of little children to be matched with adults, that is when you lose
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, absolutely.
I was just making sure that's what wasn't going on in this movie because I'm like, that's dark. That's
No.
too intense
It's-
for me.
They
It's a
go- they go
heartwarming
find this
tale
adoption
about human
agency.
trafficking.
That's what it sounded like.
They go to the adoption agency. They sign up to become foster parents, and they plan on adopting through fostering.
Okay, so like 4 years
Okay.
later they get kids. Okay, because that's how foster kids work.
Not in America, wherever the fuck they are in America.
Not in this movie.
So they go-
because in real life it actually takes a little while.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they go do that, and then they get these kids. One of them is Isabella, who is also the Latina in Transformers: The Last Night.
Okay. Yep. The little girl.
And then they have Juan, who is the dumbest fucking kid.
Well, he's a kid.
And I was talking to Kendall about this, and I dread when we buy our kids at Costco and if we get a dumb kid, because there isn't a whole hell of a lot I can teach that
Buy
kid.
your kids at Costco.
Yeah, that's my joke, because we're gonna get them in bulk.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. Okay, when we adopt,
Yeah.
there we go. Is that better? Is that
Just-
above board? Is that enough?
Just
Are
to
we
be
good?
clear, just because people listen to this sometimes.
When we adopt our children, I
Not from
hope I don't get
Costco.
not from Costco. Like, if I get a dumb one, I'm screwed because there isn't much I can teach him. Like, I'm screwed. I'm like, this is how you cut hair, buddy, because this is it.
Well, he'll have a small
And then,
business.
and then they
doing
have the
hair.
little girl who is just a nightmare because she's a little girl, and that's what happens.
I agree,
but,
but no comment.
Yeah. So it's just them trying to learn how to parent these things, and just a bunch of shit happens. They go to the support group with all the other fostering parents who are trying to adopt, and it's an interesting story. It's beautiful. And then they throw in this wrench, how these foster kids, how their mother is back in the picture. She's out of jail. She's clean. And then Isabella, the oldest one, she just wants life to go back to how it is. She doesn't want to be part of the system anymore. She feels like that her life is a burden on everything. She just wants life to be back the way it was. So she wants to get back with her mom.
So she goes on a quest to get superpowers, right?
Correct.
Yes,
That is actually
that's
how the
how we got
Thank
Captain
God.
Marvel.
I was like, this has got to go somewhere if you expect me to watch it. Like, a sci-fi twist.
I don't expect you to watch it. I'm just telling you, it's a
Cool.
beautiful story. I cried 3 times.
I thought you were convincing me to watch this because I'm like, this does not sound like
this
anything
is
I'm
not
gonna
a
ever
Scott
watch.
movie. This is not a Scott movie.
Okay, I'm
It
glad
isn't a
that you
Craig movie
recognize
either.
it and definitely
Well,
labeled it that.
Craig's not an Andrew person right now. This is a beautiful movie.
Yes.
My only issue with it is that Isabella girl and that they keep putting her in like scandalous outfits. She's 17.
Oh, it's Hollywood. Fucking pervs.
Fucking pervs.
Yeah, that's all you can say about that. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Definitely not watch that
That's
movie
it.
then. That's like Gotham
So
too.
you're definitely going to watch that movie?
Pardon? I was never going to. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but
Oh, I thought you said I'm definitely going
no,
to watch
I
that
said
movie.
not.
then. I was
Definitely
like,
not going to watch that
weird
movie.
time to chime in and say you're going to watch it for
definitely,
sure.
No, it's definitely not because of that particular add-on. Because it's just like, come on, people, like, it's weird. It's just weird. Like, didn't we learn our lesson with the Transformers movies? She was in one of them already
Nope.
Yeah, when she was like 15.
when she was younger.
Yeah.
Anyways,
And they're like, oh, here, everything's dirty and life sucks. Let's put some makeup on her. Okay. Oh, she's 17. Let's try to make her look like a fucking smoke show. Nope. Wait a year and then do that.
let's move on past Instant Family since somehow we talked about it longer than we talked about what this episode was about.
Because it's an instant classic.
That's all I watched this week.
Nice.
It
Andrew,
did
what
not
else
move
on
the
your
needle.
list?
Well, I watched The Flash, as we discussed. I also watched Instant Family.
Clearly,
I fell asleep
during Instant Family.
last night listening to Jim Gaffigan's Noble Ape
Oh, is that the new one?
because my internet shit the bed, and I had just happened to have it downloaded onto my phone to listen to while I drove. It was funnier this time around. I actually woke myself up laughing a few times when I was like right about to pass out, heard a joke and went, ha ha.
It's like, damn it.
Yeah.
Process of falling asleep.
Yeah. Kendall and I watched the Oceans 11 and Oceans 12
Nice.
because she's on an Oceans kick, and we all know I support that.
As we all do
Very
on the
much
podcast,
so.
I believe. I can't remember. Craig,
Very
what's your
much
position on
so.
the ocean movies again?
Meh.
Okay.
I think he's impartial. Craig doesn't like good shit.
Craig doesn't like
okay?
a whole lot
case
of
in,
anything.
case in point.
Craig is trying to.
Craig likes Sam, and that's about it.
Craig is trying to be a neutral party.
He is
Excelling.
Switzerland. He exists. And the only other thing I watched is I'm rewatching House of Lies right now.
Right on.
Fantastic show.
Great show. Such a great insight
I forgot
into...
how great it
Oh, yeah.
was. And Kristen Bell is awesome as a badass.
That's where I think I started to really enjoy her as an actress, because I didn't really know too much stuff for
Yeah.
her before that. I didn't.
Well, everything I'd seen her in before was either kid related.
Yeah, which one I didn't see.
It was
that.
Veronica Mars, or it was her in a comedic role, like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, exactly. right.
But
So you didn't
in
get a
this,
big
she's
thing.
the power lead female. In
Yeah,
it.
and she's great. She's sarcastic as fuck, which I love. Just sassy.
She's one of the boys,
yeah, but not.
and and deep down, she's I'm in charge of this crew.
Yeah, which we all know is true.
I may not be the number one, but I'm also in charge of this group.
Yep.
And Doug Guggenheim is just so unfortunate.
Yeah.
He's and in his own words, he's like, I'm socially retarded, and I was like, I wouldn't use those terms, but yes. Sorry, Doug.
But yeah, that's a good show. I enjoy it. I'll have to rewatch it one of these days in the future.
Absolutely. But that is all I watched. This was a short week.
Yeah, that takes us to the end of the week. Because I didn't watch anything else besides Stargate.
There we go.
Yep.
Guys, we just crushed this episode in under 45 minutes.
You're welcome, Forgot to Grow Up listeners. Yeah. That's
so
the word I was looking for.
Yeah. For those of you who are going to continue listening, we're going to give you approximately 47 minutes of dead air. just to fill in
so that this one doesn't
the
stick
remaining
out
time.
Yeah, it doesn't stick out as a significantly short episode.
Yeah. Do you guys want to hear the most annoying sound ever?
Nya, 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 nya.
I thought, well, that is certainly up there. That's for damn sure. I thought you were gonna go with the Despicable Me reference.
I'm not even sure I can do that. No, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, this went off the rails.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys. Tune in next week when we talk about stuff for maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour and a half,
maybe 2 hours
closer to
and
2
35
hours.
minutes. Who knows?
Who the fuck knows? I'm gonna watch Instant Family again, and then
we're gonna
cry.
We're gonna keep talking about it.
Absolutely, it's gonna come up at least 2 more times.
We promise.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.